This is Nate Dodson, and you're tuning into And This Is Why, the podcast show. A show where we help you take your business to the next level. New episodes every week, streaming on your favorite streaming platforms. Enjoy today's episodes. Hey guys, welcome to And This Is Why, the podcast, where we really focus on the entrepreneurship process, how to be successful, and talking to people that honestly are some of the most successful in the nation. And today, I've got one of the most amazing women in the nation. And it's actually comical because she has the exact same first name as my own wife, Jasmine. And she's like my second wife. So she is just that amazing to have around. So I'll let her kind of give her own introduction. But Miss Jasmine Wilwa, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, and just so you know, I'm cheating a little bit, right? It's easy for you to love me that much with a wife like yours. So check that box right there. Thanks for having me, Nate. Always a pleasure, no matter where we are. We were just in Tennessee recently, so no matter where we are, and I'll see you in San Diego soon, right? You know what?
Every chance I get, I need more Jasmine in my life. That's one of the things that I've figured out.
I can appreciate that.
I love it. So, you know what? I did not want to kind of spoil it, especially with your amazing pink cowboy hat. You know what? I'm down here in Texas, so having the cowboy hat, completely acceptable, completely expected. But you're not from around here. Please tell us a little bit about your background and where you are and why you are.
Yeah, well, first of all, I apologize. I did show up without the hat at first, and Nate was like, wait, what's going on? So, the hat is a whole story behind it. I will spare your podcast this, but just know that it is part of my get to know me and marketing plan. So look for the lady in the pink hat if you're looking to learn about note investing or get involved with our newest fund that we just came out with. But originally from New York City, so that's where all the energy comes from, all the spunk as they call it. But I moved to San Diego in 5th grade. So I've been in San Diego since the 80s and really love it out here. And so I really started to get into financial investing through the real estate venue, after realizing that I didn't want to live anywhere else. And it's pretty expensive to live out here. It's been expensive since I moved here, and it continues to get more expensive. So that piqued my interest in really doing the real estate investing. But my education background, I have a degree in economics, I have a undergrad in industrial organization, and a MBA. And so I took all that and started off on Wall Street. Actually worked at a small boutique shop called Joseph Stevens, right there across from the Federal Reserve building down there in New York. And so after that, I got picked up by Morgan Stanley Dean Witter and worked out of the World Trade Center for a while. And then I got transferred to downtown San Francisco, which was just an amazing, amazing city and time. One of my second and third biggest cities outside of Chicago and obviously New York. So as you can imagine, timeline and everything, I was working at the World Trade Center when they blew it up. And so I just happened to be in the plane flying to my new office in San Francisco. So that promotion actually saved my life, right? So I got transferred to downtown San Francisco. But at that point, after the World Trade Center blowing up, it really had a mental effect on me. And I had what I called my midlife crisis, because I was about maybe 25 or 28.
What are you, 27, 29 now?
That or double it, something like that.
Who's counting?
And so, long story short, after that, I kind of had a breakdown and left and decided I needed to go entrepreneurship. So my last stop in corporate America was GMAC. So all you guys are familiar with General Motors. They build cars, but I'm not sure if you're aware, but they also do residential funding, and they're in the housing market, because who isn't? And so, that was really my first exposure to starting to get into what we now, and everyone's into, the secondary mortgage market. So thanks for asking.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you a few things about your history. And to start with, I didn't know you majored in economics.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I majored in as well. So we can talk all about guns and butter. Maybe not today, but it's always an interesting conversation.
This is my second cheat with you, just so you know. You're doing economics. I was like, we speak the same language. This is my second cheat. So you never had a
there you go.
Never a chance when we met. We were going to be friends.
I love it. And then going with the GMAC, I understand that they make way more money making loans than building cars. Is that actually true?
Oh yeah, their whole business model is really a loan model, right? The cars are just inconsequential if you want to say that. I mean, they're really selling you the loan. That's their biggest product. And once that really hit them, they jumped into the mortgage market. And then what further hit them after doing that was that the servicing piece was a huge breadwinner. So they are actually a servicing company as well. So they're really deep into the note portion of everything that they do. And once you sit back and realize how much debt rules the world and how important it is, you'll start to understand more why.
Which also makes a ton of sense why today you're doing what you're doing. And I know, we just recently helped you with this fund that you're working on.
Thank you so much.
So you may need to remove your not fund hat. So you can now share us as the professional, as the fund manager that has helped funds manage millions.
Yes.
What are you doing with this new fund, and what are you targeting, and why?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And yes, we removed the hat. We started a $50 million fund. We launched it with the help of this gentleman right here. I wouldn't have done it with anyone else. And that, if I may, before I get into the story of the fund, that is what I realized. With my background, if you can imagine, I've been approached by many people to get started with a fund. And to be honest with you, because of my background, I know it's not all cake and roses. And so with that said, I know it's important to be working with people that you respect and that you like and have fun with. And so until the right people came along, which would be the three partners I'm about to tell you about, and then this gentleman, it did not make sense. It was not, I was happy as a clam as it is. And so the fun life is now the fun life now that I'm working with this guy. So I highly encourage any of you guys out there who are listening, if you don't know already, but this is the guy to help you with it. So yeah.
And this is why I love you.
Hey, listen, I can only speak the truth. But with that said, yes, I have a company, an asset management firm called Elos Capital Management. And Elos, for those of you who are avid Greek mythology listeners and readers like myself, Elos is the goddess of compassion. And so if you know anything about me, there's somewhere deep down inside, not too deep, but there's a lot of compassion running through everything that I do. And so was really important to, as far as to speak out as the name of our asset management group. We have since then launched our first fund. It's called the Make Money and Go to Heaven Fund, which again plays on everything about me. It's like we want to make money, we want to have fun, but we also want to do it in good nature and make sure that we don't ruin our future, our real future in the end, right? So the Make Money and Go to Heaven Fund is really, really an innovative fund that is focused on supplying liquidity to the more creative housing aspects that are going to fuel the future. And when we say the future, we're not just talking about the youth or the younger generation. We're also talking about the seniors, right? And so there's a lot of creative things like ADUs. There's these tiny homes. There's all these creative things that are looking to help our housing supply. That's what we're here to fund and bring liquidity to. So we're buying mortgages in the secondary mortgage market, and we're bringing liquidity to those people out there, creatively bringing creative housing aspects to the market and helping us with a housing shortage.
And is a lot of this in performing loans or non-performing loans, or is there a mix of those? Just in general, what are you targeting?
It's a mix. A good portion of them are going to be performing. That's what's going to bring the bread and butter. But we're taking a small slither of it and definitely snatching hold of some of those non-performing funds. But overall, it's going to be a real solid balance sheet. We're going to have performing notes in there because at the end of the day, what I have found is that you're not necessarily taking a bigger risk when you invest in some of these more creative opportunities, right? And so we're still going to have some very strong principles that are behind the underwriting that we're looking for with these loans.
I absolutely love it. So I kind of want to pivot to learn more about your awesome pink hat and pink boots and everything that you're, of course, absolutely. But I kind of want to lead it out with, we saw each other in Nashville not too long ago. You're speaking in front of this conference, talking about how to invest yourself into loans, performing, non-performing. And to be honest, the big reason why I was at the conference is something that you know well, amazingly well, that is an opportunity of opportunities for everybody that's listening to truly pay attention to and know what you're about to learn about is going to be the future opportunity that everybody needs to jump into. And it is, well, what's going on in the debt markets. Yeah. Back in 2008, 2009, I was living in and working in Las Vegas, and everything was going belly up. There's foreclosures all over the place. All of the loans nobody was able to pay anymore. And I had quite a few clients that transitioned into non-performing debts. And I'm not going to explain it because I know enough to be dangerous, but only really being dangerous. I want to hear from a pro about that, but I was listening to you for the primary purpose of learning all about that. But please tell us a little bit about your educational program and company.
Yeah, well, first of all, great introduction. The debt market is really, and if you're listening to this podcast, he's doing such a huge service to everyone. Debt is really what, as you know, we hear us arguing about it, politics, the debt ceiling. Debt is such a huge piece of everything we do that it's time that we learn what it's like to be on the other side of the fence. And so, first, I'd like to give a shout out to our podcast. The Naked Notes podcast is a free educational tool. It's my give, right? I'm a giver, so my first give is this podcast. If you're interested in learning about it, just go there. It's really structured as an educational piece. Season 1, what is a note, why we invest in notes, and the importance of debt and all that good stuff. So check out the podcast. In a nutshell, the 30-second plug about debt and what I teach, I have a program called the Note Assistance Program, and my goal is to, once I learned about debt from the other side, I just wanted to let everyone know, because I know how important it was and how pivotal it was to my substantial financial changes and gains. And so, no matter what, even if you're not getting involved, it's important that you understand what's going on the other side. Why banks buy mortgages, okay? What is debt used for? Why would someone even issue debt, okay, and be on the other side of debt, right? Why? The other thing that I learned that is most important is why you should not feel so upset or emotionally damaged if something goes wrong while you're in the middle of a debt deal, because people make money even off of non-performing debt. So back to that point, yes, non-performing debt is out there plentiful, and we expect a wave of it to be coming down the pipeline based on the current economic conditions.
And just to define non-performing debt, and it seems obvious, but some people don't really understand why.
Yeah.
You can acquire a promissory note, an instrument that represents a debt that literally somebody is not paying. It's already in default.
It happens every day.
But there's some amazing strategies to actually make it performing or to profit off it. And because you can buy it at a discount, there's where the opportunity gets created. And this wonderful lady right here in a pink hat, that's a big part of what she teaches and helps people with, is how to profit and grow from these defaulted loans.
And it's not just even defaulted loans, but it's the performing notes as well, right? There are two strategies involved. So yes, you're 100% correct. Back to the definitions. A non-performing note is just a contract that someone is not meeting the obligations to. It happens all day, every day, from cell phones all the way down to, yes, mortgages, right? And so that's the other thing that people have to understand, that we're all involved with debt. If you have a cell phone in your pocket and you're paying someone monthly for that, that's a debt instrument, right? And so the performing notes are also, that's why people are in this, right? And so the genius behind this banking thing, if you become a bank, is that you rarely lose. You've all heard the term, banks never lose. Well, this is why, because when they have contracts that go defunct, they still learn how to sell them or make money off them. And then obviously the reason they're in it is for the performing notes. So do not sleep on the value of the performing notes out there as well. Those things are really what keep people in the game and build that longevity and that legacy. When you talk about non-performing notes, you're going to think about some quick capital gains, some big money every now and then, right? But you really, when you're building a mature portfolio and one that you're going to live off in legacy, it's that income, that passive income coming in over time, generationally, that really, really makes a difference.
I absolutely love it. In terms of kind of your education and what you do and how you help people, can you give us a little bit of an idea of, if somebody chose to learn from you, to participate in your program, what does it really look like for them?
You know, here's what separates my program from the many that are out there. And I'll say this, there are many out there that are popping up. They're members of my group. So there's a lot of very quality programs out there. The thing that's different about my program is that it's the same program that initiated and started over 14 years ago. And the genius behind that is that it's really, truly hands-on. Now, I understand that everyone wants to be online, and there are videos everywhere, and we have an online portion too. But what I can tell you is that the real success, no matter if you look down to people like Tony Robbins, I always like to bring him up because he had a mentor, okay, when he was young. That's why he is where he is today. So all of us need mentors, and it's that real hands-on piece that makes the difference. And so that's what we have. We have a hands-on program that has 3 proprietary steps, and it's really built off of, if you guys are familiar, of the Wickman process. And so it really works well for people who are really good with systems, right? So if you're in the military, if you're an engineer.
I have no clue what Wickman system means, so please take a moment and explain it a little bit deeper for us.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, there's a book. I'd like you to look it up. The author's name is Wickman, okay? And he has a process that has worked tremendously with businesses. And so about 3 years ago, I implemented his process into our program. And so this is why we have a proprietary process that is based upon 3 steps. And so the genius about it is that this is what most of us need when we're learning. We really need everything to be broken down into proportions, and that's where the success comes from as far as our students are concerned. So the last name is Wickman. Just look it up. It's a great system he has. It's called the Entrepreneurial Operational System, EOS, and that is literally what we spent about 2 years ago. We went and dug into the program and really implemented that. So you're going to see that difference in the results that are out there. It's not just me coming on to just let you pick my brain. We put a system together that works, and it's been proven over the last 10 or 15 years.
And just to throw it out there, I really did know who Wickman was.
I was like, I must know your business. Tell me.
2 books written by Wickman that you have to read if you're starting your own business and growing your own business. One of them is called Get a Grip. And it's a story about a company that's just in disarray, and now they're implementing the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and really how it helps them both weed out problems as well as get themselves set up to scale and grow. The second book is called Traction, and it's more kind of the theories of why they are setting up the EOS and how it operates. And it's a little bit more of the analytical side, where Get a Grip is more of the story of the implementation side. But both of those books you have to read if you are in business for yourself.
And if you're trying to...
And of course, this wonderful lady knows all about that too.
Hey, I'm surrounded by some good people, and that's what it is, you know. I hang out with some entrepreneurs that are tons more successful than I am, and because of that, they're able to guide me into the right direction. So this was also just huge. If you're out there listening, this is you getting free mentorship from his podcast. This is a great book, and I definitely encourage it.
Absolutely. So now I'm so interested in investing in mortgages, especially like the excitement of these interest rates nowadays are sexy for the lenders.
Right.
It sucks for the borrowers.
Right.
Everybody should be jumping on board to desperately get into it. At the same time, if you're buying a loan from a few years ago, it's got a low interest rate. And then it's like, well, how does it make sense to even get into those types of loans?
Yeah.
How does this work for everybody, as I know you know?
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's amazing. What's happening right now, if you're listening to this, do not sleep. Wake up right now. It is 1980 all over again. Okay, go get your Cabbage Patch. And I'm obviously joking, but for us in the banking world and this interest rates, we haven't seen these rates since then, right? It was since the 80s that we saw, and they went up as far as 18, so Lord knows where we're going. But if you're a lender, as he mentioned, you're on the side of receiving that 12%. So life is good, but it's only going to be a short window. At some point, they're going to freeze. They've already paused, okay? And then they're going to start retracting. And so I don't know that we're on that path yet. We still have a little bit more to go. I believe they may release and increase at least once more. But at the end of the day, this window right now where we're legally allowed to get between 10 and 12% on some really good seasoned paper, right? That is what we've all been here waiting for. Now, here's what I will tell you. When I talk about that window, the smart investors are out there throwing as much money as we can right? And what that means is lending at that rate, right? Because it's really competitive at this point. And even some of the best, whether you're flipping out there or if you're a homeowner and you're looking at 6.95 instead of the 3, right? You really have nowhere else to go. So this is what we're writing under. But what we do know is that when they start lowering those interest rates, you're going to be real quick to refi, real quick to get out of those loans. So we have a short window, again, to go in and throw money in and lend at this rate to the people that need the money. Because once it's over, and we're going to go back to thinking the 6 was very sexy and attractive, right? And so I just got a loan, a performing note, perfect. I mean, the cleanest paper you've seen in a long time, but it was delivered to me at a 30% discount performing note because, yes, the rate was 5-year ago rate, right? We're looking at a 4% rate, and now everyone can double that easily with a blink of an eye. So right now what that's doing to the current market when they talk about performing notes, basically that paper with the 3%, no matter how clean it is, it's got to be trading at a discount because anyone can put the hand in the barrel and pull out a 12%.
I think that's a big thing that you just said that people need to understand. Of the price of buying a note really is tied to the current market. So if you have a loan that has a lower interest rate, how it's been in the past, but it's come onto the market to sell, it's selling at a discount so that the return you actually receive is more like a current market rate rather than thinking, oh, I'm not going to go and buy this loan because it's at 4%. Well, what if you get a 30% discount and now you're buying one that's at 4%? So I think that's a really important point that not a lot of people understand.
Yeah, and you know what's also huge is that you mentioned is that yes, the outside world does affect the pricing of your notes, no matter how old it is or how current it is, right? And so the main thing that I want you to understand is that that is affects also the non-performing notes as well, but it's not so much the interest rates that affect the non-performing rates. It's going to be the current real estate market, the values of the homes. So right now, when we talk about non-performing notes, a lot of people are, got their feathers all messed up because, we can't find non-performing notes at 50 cents on the dollar anymore. Or I heard back in the day we're getting for 50 cents on the dollar. Why is that not happening anymore? The time has passed because now majority of the Midwest, majority of every home in America is, if not hit 100,000, it's above 100,000. So the values of those homes have gone up so much that banks are looking twice, right? And if you're going to take that from them, you're going to pay more. They know you're going to make the money at the end. They're not slow. Or they're going to keep it themselves. Now they're also interested in working it out themselves. So yes, the outside market and the current market definitely affects the note in many different ways. And that's from interest rates all the way down to the current values of homes.
So let me ask you this. I'm just average Joe. I'm super interested in being in the lender space, but I don't have the relationships. I don't know how to find borrowers. How does it work for me, wanting to be in the space, wanting to make great regular money from these investments, from these loans? How do I find them, or kind of what's the process, or how do you work with people?
Yeah, there's so many different routes. One of the most amazing things about this industry is just hearing everyone's story and how they got into it. So if you don't have the connections, that would be me. Okay? I'm a girl from New York, 1975 Bronx. I always like to let everyone know that before they gentrified it. So that was the conundrum that I had. And so that's why I started my community. And so before I get into that, there are many ways. The first thing I'll say is that you just want to start with education, no matter what, specifically in this industry. A lot of us got involved with crypto, right? May or may not have got educated. That's fine. When the crypto blew up, the only people that got hurt was us in our pockets. In this industry, when you're buying mortgages, you want to educate yourself because there are families in these homes, right? And so you really want to make sure that you are not getting yourself into deeper trouble, affecting other people's lives, and furthermore, it's sometimes getting involved with now the Attorney General, right? So things can really escalate with mortgages, so education is very key. So with education, I have a program called the Note Assistance Program. You can check us out online. You can always start with our podcast as well. The Note Assistance Program is where we do the hands-on training, and we also have the online portion of it. And so realistically, it's just about learning while doing with us. That's the other huge thing about our program is we are all training on live inventory. We release inventory on a monthly basis, and it's both performing and non-performing, and that is what we train on, and then that is what we work on when you're getting your first note, so that when you get out there, you're not as green as you would feel, and a majority of your concerns and fears are gone. So we take it from a very, very serious standpoint, and when I say that again, we're going back from all the way from systems down to just understanding the mental stability that you need to to really succeed in this business. So we have the community there to help support you with your resources and help you when your notes start going a little wonky, but to let you know that we're still going to be okay when it comes to making our money. So the main thing I would tell you is that education is key. Start with reading. There are a lot of books out there, podcasts, and of course educational programs like mine.
I absolutely love it, and you know what, everybody should be interested, everybody should be involved, because honestly, this is the wave of the future, at least a short window of a future. Can you look into the future, and what do you think is going to happen in the lending and the mortgage industry with interest rates and whatever timeline you think there's going to be some movement?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I see a lot more inventory coming down the pipeline, but I don't see it reaching the smaller guys as much as it did back before, because banks are a lot more savvy now and willing to be more savvy. But I do see them also getting rid of a lot of their performing notes, because there is a huge watch list right now and everyone's worried about which banks are solvent. So really they're going to be paying attention to their balance sheets, and so that is what's going to force a lot of the selling and or retention of loans at this point. And as far as the little guy out there, we've got to keep pushing, right? This is no matter what. I've got people who are trading $400 million a month. So when you think about that, that is something that we are really far from doing, and we may never master. And so we really have to continue to look out for ourselves. So I see the smaller markets just really coming together, because we have to stick together in order to get trades done. I see a lot less competition out there as far as us, again, taking down trades together and really trying to make sure we all get a piece of that pie. Because right now the big guys, when they're ready to take, they take, and we're just left with what there is. So I definitely see, regardless, there's more mortgages coming out, there's more housing supply, so there's plenty of inventory. We just have to work on trying to make sure that we're getting it from a steady pace to keep our businesses flowing.
I think that something that you have in your note assistance program, or what I understood, is that you do more of a mortgage tape. And that's a weird word that's used in the industry, so I'd like you to kind of dive in deeper a little bit more with that, but also how you are leveraging the tapes for the members of your community.
Yeah, that's also a great point. Yeah, so we release a tape every month, and what a tape is the simple Excel spreadsheet. It's what the banks actually send me. And so one thing that's, again, different is that you're going to get the actual tape from the bank from me. A lot of programs will put it through a process. You go to the fancy website and you look at their notes, which I really appreciate, because user-friendliness is amazing, right? It helps us all. But when it comes to learning and setting you up for success, and what happens when you leave the comfort of your community and go out and really engage with bankers, you really need to learn how to read that Excel spreadsheet. So we pride ourselves on making sure that you know and use the tools that the bankers are using immediately, and then after that you can go and get fancy. And so that's the tape that we release. It's actually an Excel spreadsheet that comes directly from either the bank or their servicers, and has all that data on there, which again gives you an advantage, because you don't know what someone is choosing to leave off when they decide to transfer it to their website or whatever they're doing. As far as how we invest, the unique thing that I love about it is that we invest and buy together, but we're not a syndicate. So with that said, we will go forth, and if when someone puts a tape in front of us, we will carve off a small tranche. So that would say if there's a $30 million tape, we will go and say we would like to take this $2 million, and we'll go ahead and all put our requests in for each individual note. So we get to cherry pick notes, and I will take that list of notes to the seller and say, here are the $2 million or so that we would like. We will take those down together. That will give us pricing advantages, also allow us to take down more. And with that said, we'll go and take it down together, and afterwards we disperse the notes to every individual person. And so from a standpoint of logistics, people are like, whoa, that's a lot, right? Everyone gets their own contract, but yes, that's the genius of it, is everyone gets their own contract. You get to own your own note without any JV opportunities, right? A lot of these other programs, every time you buy a note, you have to JV with the owner of the program or the guru. You are going to have your own note experience. You're going to own your own note, and you're going to get to this, and you're going to walk out knowing that you did it. Okay, so that confidence, I think, is the number one thing that you leave my program with. I run into a lot of people who join other programs, have to come back to my program, or want to join my program in addition, and it's because of the confidence that you get. Okay? There's knowledge and there's confidence. And although confidence comes from knowledge, if your knowledge is not solid, then you won't have that confidence.
So it's in concept, and I'm simplifying it, doing more for yourself together.
Right, together, right. We have to work together. That's the unique thing about our community, is that we all want each other to win. Everyone wants everyone to get a note, because that means that we're going to get better pricing power, right? So at the end of the day, if you need help buying a note, if there's a note on the tape that you like and there's someone that can help you take it down, a lot of joint venturing goes on, a lot of OPM opportunities are available, because we all want everyone to succeed.
I absolutely love it. And so you've got a lot on your plate between the podcast, which is just there to help the world, your note assistance program for people that are actually interested in engaging, the done with you, but for me, and then your fund, which is the basically done for you by the pro here. Sounds like you're really doing a great job of hitting every aspect of your business.
Yeah,
what does the future hold?
Yeah, we're taking our time. This is it. This is my future. It stops at the fund. We're going to have multiple funds, of course. Make Money Go to Heaven Fund 1, Fund 2. But yeah, the fund is really the mecca for me. We definitely want to just get as many people. My focus is women and minorities. So we are probably one of the most diverse groups out there that you will find on the street. And so that is the future right there. So the future is bringing more diversification to this industry, and we're going to forge the way. That's one thing we're not going to stop. But other than that, yes, check us out. Our Elos Capital Group, you're going to find that the fund is, yes, like you said, for people who don't want to get in the weeds of it, but definitely want to take advantage of that window I talked about, right? If you're excited about getting back into 1980, but don't have the time to do it, you can join our fund, and we look forward to speaking to you.
I love it. And at least my best guess is, I agree with you. I think there may be one, possibly two interest rate increases, but I also think that going into kind of that election cycle, we'll start to see the interest rates coming down, because nobody wants to run for president while the economy is getting terrorized and terrified by these high interest rates. So now's the time to move, and it may not last forever, but definitely is that opportunity today. And you got to work with the pros. You got to get educated by the people that know. And Jasmine,
yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being here. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to learn more about the other side of the coin, whether or not you decide to get into debt or become a debt creditor or not. The point is that we're all involved with it one way or the other, so you should learn what they are getting when you pay your mortgage every time, when you pay that debt payment every time. And then also know that you too can join that side too. A lot of it is just not knowing that side is open to us. So you are welcome at any table, including the debt table, which by the way has a lot of benefits. So that's my main message, is that you are welcome.
I love it. So if you're listening and you want to have all those benefits of being a lender, being the bank, taking control of your own destiny, at the end of the day, you can do it. It takes work, time, education, and just reach out to Jasmine, and her contact information will be included right with this podcast episode. So please, learn how to be your best. And this is why we're doing this here today.
Can't wait to see you in San Diego, my friend.
Can't wait to see you.
Thanks so much.